Hello, and welcome to 3ds Max to Unigine tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to take a static mesh created inside of 3ds Max and then import it into Unigine. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to navigate to wherever our evaluation kit is installed. In my case, it's C, Program Files x86, Unigine, Evaluation Kit. Then we need to navigate into our data folder. Create a new folder to hold all of our world and assets. I'm going to call it test_world, however you can call it anything you'd like. And then inside of test_world, we need to create 4 new folders. One called materials to hold our material libraries. Another one called meshes to store our mesh. Another one called textures. And a 4th one called uncompressed. Now before we move on, let's drag and drop our Canon textures over. Now, Unigine supports a variety of texture formats, however it is recommended to use textures compressed in DDS. To get the textures into DDS, you can convert them manually using the image DDS tool provided by Unigine, or you can use a program like GIMP or Photoshop. Alternatively, if you store your textures in the uncompressed folder, Unigine can automatically convert them for you with the necessary suffix. However, before we get onto that, let's load up our textures into GIMP, and then let's talk about some texturing requirements for diffuse, normal, and specular. Okay. So, our diffuse texture, it uses an RGBA format where the alpha channel contains either transparency values or a detail mask. Our normal map, it uses an LA format which stores 2 components of a normal. The 3rd component is calculated from the stored component. And our specular map, it uses the RGBA format where the alpha channel contains a reflection scale. Okay, so keep that in mind when you are creating your textures. Okay, so now if we say we want Unigine to automatically convert them, all we need to do for your diffuse, you can name it whatever you would like. However, at the end of the file name, you need _D for diffuse. For your normal, you need Canon _in, so _in for normal, and _s for specular. Okay, let's minimize this and get this out of the way. Next up, we have our Canon. Let's drag and drop our Canon, open the file. Here we have our beautiful Canon. Alright. You can either use the Unigine menu or add the export panel to export this mesh. So we're going to use the export panel, so we're going to use utilities, hit more, scroll down, find Unigine tools, hit OK. I'm going to select all of it so that the exporter ungrays. Alright. We're going to leave our type as a static mesh since we want it to be a static mesh. We want to align it based on the world. Scale is 1.1.0. We want to leave it at this. Scale at Unigine should be 1 unit equals 1 meter, generally speaking. Next, vertex optimization. If you want a quick export, you can turn it off, but the final assets, however, must have it on. Note it will take longer if you have a lot of objects exported into the mesh. The next 2 following options, split by multi-sub ID and group by surfaces, specify how many surfaces there will be in the exported mesh. Here, as you can see, our mesh is broken up into 3 separate pieces. We have the Canon base, we have the Canon lights, and we have the Canon tower. If we export it as it is now, we'll have 3 surfaces, In Unigine, surfaces are used to assign materials, one per surface, or can be used to represent different LODs of a mesh. We only need to have two surfaces. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the lights and the base. Then we're going to go up to group, select group, and we are going to call this Canon underscore base. Okay. Alright, so now we have the lights and the base as one mesh, one surface, and when we have the top of the cannon, its own separate surface. So now we need to make sure our group says surfaces. Options checked. Checking split by multi-sub ID allows to split / combine objects. If a multi-sub object material is used, we do not have it, so we're not going to bother checking it. Alright, up next is UV mapping. I'm going to show you the UV map real quick. I'm going to select everything, go over to modify, scroll down, select unwrap UV, and then select edit. This UV map that you see here is going to be exported into the first channel, and the second channel will be zeros. So now we're going to go back to our utilities, and we're going to go down to export, select export as, and then we're going to have to navigate to wherever you have created the meshes folder. Okay, and I'm just going to call this Canon, then hit save. Now as you can see, our quick export has become ungrayed. So now if you make any changes, you could just quickly select the quick export and drop the new file version in. Okay, so now what we have to do is we're going to launch our evaluation kit browser. Now there are two ways to launch the Unigine editor. One way is to go to tools and select the run Unigine editor button. An alternative is to load up a sample, and this is how we're going to do it. So I'm going to change the API real quickly. I'm going to set it to custom. Alright, and we're going to scroll down and select hardware tessellation example, hit run. Alright, and I'm going to move this as soon as it's loaded so you can see it a little bit better. Okay, so we don't have the editor panel up, so we're going to load it. So we're going to hit the tilde key. We're going to type editor underscore load. Hit enter. I'm going to wait just a second. I bet it'll load. Alright, so now we need to create our new world. So we need to go over here and select this icon right here, this little piece of paper. Click create new world and cancel. We don't want to save our tessellation world. And then all we need to do is navigate to where test world folder or whatever you have called it. And then we're going to call this world. And you can name this as well, anything you'd like. And hit OK. And now you should see the default Unigine new world look. Just a black background with nothing in it. Alright, so let's change the background color. To do this, we need to go to the rendering panel. It's up here. The little computer. Alternatively, you can hit R as the hotkey to open it. And then in background color, just going to make this a little bit grayer. Okay. The next thing we want to do is we want to add in our Canon mesh. So I want to go up to this cube up here, where when you highlight over it says add an object. Then the first drop down, static or skin mesh. Then you want to navigate to our meshes folder where we store our Canon and drop our Canon in. Okay, so with our Canon in, as you can see though, even though we have our Canon in, we're kind of up under it. So to move around in Unigine, to move the camera, hold left mouse to look around with the camera. And standard FPS movements, W is forward, S is back, A is left, D is right, Shift moves faster. But as you can see, this would take us quite literally forever to to get out that go to a good distance to be able to see our camera. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the hammer and wrench or the tools icon. You can either alternatively open this using the hotkey T. We're going to go to camera, and I'm going to set minimum velocity at 8, and I'm going to set maximum velocity at 20. Alright, as you can see, it's still kind of slow, but when we hold shift, it's a lot faster. And look, we're on the other side of the cannon. Okay, so if we want to get and rotate around the cannon very quickly, when you have a portion, if you have the cannon selected, no matter which part, you can focus on the node by hitting F, and then left mouse, you can move it around, and right mouse to zoom in and out, and then you can hit G to reset it. And there you go, as you can see, we have our normal camera back. Now, next, we need to add a world light. So click our little light bulb, go down to the bottom, select world light, hit OK. Now, as you can see, we have our cannon, and it's much more lit now. It's not as black. Next thing we want to do is we want to hit escape, go to render, shader quality of high. We want to turn off motion blur. We want to hit apply. Then wait just a second for it to reload the world. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the node edit. Nodes. This is up here. This little icon. Alternatively, you can open it by left-clicking or hitting in. And with our light world selected, in the name property, we're going to rename our node to Sun. And as you can see, it's been renamed. It is now Sun. Okay. Now we're going to select our cannon mesh. I'm going to rename this one to cannon as well. Oops. Okay. Then if you go to the Surfaces tab, you'll see we have cannon1_1 tower, which is our tower. So you can see it highlighted up over here. And if you click down, you can see we have our cannon base and both surfaces were combined. Okay. Now as you can see, we see our bounding box and our wireframe. We can turn off the visualizer by hitting F2. Or we can go back up to our tools by hitting T. Then go to interface. And then we can turn off dynamic info and wireframe, and then we just have our bounding box. Alright. Now, if we want to move our cannon, we can hit X or select the translate object. Control Z to undo. We can select we can hit C or select the rotate icon to rotate our cannon. Control C. And then to get it back to our select object, we can either select this icon or hit Z for the shortcut. Okay. So up next, we want to apply a material to our cannon. So select our cannon. Sorry, excuse me. We already have our cannon selected. So go up to materials, and you can do this by hitting M or just clicking the icon. With our materials tab open, as you can see, we have a list of Unigine materials for meshes, vegetation, water, which is down here at the bottom. They are the basic materials that cannot be changed. To create a new material, you need 1. Create a material lib associated with the world. Here all of your materials will be used for the objects in the current world stored. So, how do we create a material lib? Well, you go over right here, this little book, where it says list of preloaded material libraries. When you highlight over it, left click, hit the little plus tab, navigate into our test world materials, and you can call this anything we like. I'm going to call this new mat, then hit OK, then hit OK. Now, if we select our mesh base, and then we select this icon right here that's called inherit material, now we can inherit and tweak the mesh base. So we're going to call this Canon. We're going to hit OK. Now, if you'd like to rename it, you can select the rename/move icon. You can also change it to a new library. When you create the material, you can also select a different library. You can have multiple material libraries loaded. I'm just leave this at Canon. Hit cancel. Alright. With our Canon material created, so go to textures and select the folder for the diffuse. And then let's navigate to our test world, textures, uncompressed. Now, as I said before, with right suffix, Unigine will automatically convert, so select our Canon_D for diffuse, hit OK. Wait a second while Unigine converts. Then go to our normal. As you can see, Unigine has automatically converted it for us. Let's go to uncompressed, select our normal. And then let's do the exact same thing for our specular. Okay, so as you can see, nothing's happened because it's not assigned. So what we're going to do is with our Canon base selected, which we have, we're going to click the Assign Material option, and as you can see, the bottom of the Canon has the material applied. So there are other ways to assign it. Currently, you can go to the nodes, and as you can see in the Surfaces tab of our Canon node, you can select Canon 1_1 tower. And then down here at the bottom you'll see material. It's assigned to mesh_base. If we select that, go to Canon and hit OK, as you can see, it now has our Canon material. And if you hold Shift, you can select both surfaces and you can change it to whichever you would like. I'm going to change it back to mesh base. Change that back really quickly. I'm going to select our sun and rotate the light a little bit so we can see it a little bit better. Alright. And that concludes this tutorial. The last thing we need to do is we need to save. So go up here and select the floppy disk, save, hit OK. And with our world saved, our material libraries are saved as well. Okay. Thank you.